What's up, guys? I'm Sloth,
I'm Haberdashery.
and this is a test for our S.978 bill.
That's very good because I totally wasn't ready to actually record.
That's fine.
This is Haberdashery.
And this is Sloth, and we're going to talk a little bit about Bill S.978. Yes, just like everybody else. We're going to try to go through this as fast as we can. There's just some things that we want to touch on. We're not going to go into crazy details like some of the other videos you may have seen. So let's just get right into this. What is the purpose of Bill S.978?
Well, obviously, it's meant to get movies, music, and television that are being streamed online, because the current verbiage of copyright law doesn't really cover, and the operative word they're adding is public performance. That's the only change to actual copyright law they're really making, is adding that public performance, because streaming online isn't copying, and it's not technically distributing, it's performing, and that's...
Streaming would be distributing.
Well, no, because you're not giving me a file.
Right. Yeah, it's a performance.
It's a performance. It's a performance. That's the only actual change to copyright law they're making. What it's doing, though, is it's adding criminal ramifications to doing such violations rather than just civil violations. Like, instead of cease and desists and getting sued, now there's actually, what everyone's freaking out over is jail time and fines and the felony record, which is making everyone just collectively crap their pants. And the sad thing is that movies and music and television are the real target. Video games are copyrighted material as well.
So, do they fall into the scope of this bill?
Absolutely. Because the thing is that video games are copyrighted material. It's just like a television show, movie, or music. It technically, transmitting a video game is illegal. And there have been cease and desists given out to YouTube users who have just streamed gameplay.
Well, what about commentaries, LPs? Is there anything that protects Let's Players, like you and me and them?
Yes and no. Basically, what it comes down to is what is protected Let's Players. What is protecting Let's Players now is two main veils of protection that Let's Players operate under. One is fair use, which is meant to allow some copyrighted material use in the context of journalism or teaching, parody. But the thing is with fair use, there's no court precedent for it. No, there has never been anyone in court arguing, is a Let's Play video fair? Does that fall under fair use?
Yeah, because anybody that's ever gotten a cease and desist, well, YouTube went, okay, channel's gone.
Yeah, or they've taken it down or whatever. It's never gotten to court. So it's there, and with the way the verbiage of fair use is verbalized, it seems like it would cover a Let's Play, because a Let's Play would fall under a commentary. If it's a walkthrough, that could half-assed be called teaching or instructional. True. And or parody even. So fair use is meant to be, allow it to be okay for a sports writer to use a team logo, or an NBA player.
Okay.
A picture of an NBA player amongst a sea of words. So,
well, okay, here's the thing, though. If you go to court and your defense is fair use, do you think you're going to win?
It depends on a number of factors. And the fair use argument is really an argument for another day. Because the blunt truth is that fair use has never been meant to create a blanket statement about a form of work. Even if some game company takes a Let's Player to court, and the Let's Player has the resources to fight them, and the court has to make a decision, fair use is more meant to be used on a case-by-case basis, rather than, oh, well, this Let's Play is under fair use, that means all Let's Play are under fair use? That's not how it's normally meant to be used. It has been used that way, but it's more meant to be used on a case-by-case basis. So now, of course, if a Let's Player wins, that's going to discourage companies from trying it again. But anyways, the whole fair use thing is a whole different issue, and we're not going to pretend to be lawyers. So,
okay,
but I guess we are.
So what about the apathy of the gaming industry? I mean, they've already had the power for years to send cease and desists.
Yeah, and that's the second veil of protection that Let's Players have had, is that they pretty much video game companies either A, don't care about Let's Plays, B, don't want to really pursue it in court, because just as there is no legal precedent protecting Let's Players, there isn't a legal precedent that says Let's Players can't do what they're doing. It goes both ways. So they're either apathetic.
Well, they also have to kind of enjoy it because it's free advertising for them, and who, especially if some of these indie game companies can afford to buy that much TV time.
Yeah, even the mid-level companies, like the EAs and Activisions of the world, probably don't like Let's Plays because they have intellectual properties that sell themselves.
I wouldn't say that they don't like them. I would say that they would be okay if Let's Plays weren't there because they're big enough to spend money on it.
They have established intellectual properties that are guaranteed sellers, sadly, half the time anyways. But yeah, your mid-level and especially independent companies love Let's Plays, really.
Yeah.
That's and that's a big thing that has protected Let's Players is the fact that video game industry doesn't care whether like the fair use thing works or not. They're just like, it's free advertising, and we're not gonna bother them for the most part.
So the bill wants to add criminal prosecution to the civil side. So if this passes, who's going to make the call here, though? Is it the copyright holder that tells the government, hey, somebody's infringing our copyright, go and get them? Or does the government send out the dogs and, hire 1,000 dudes with computers and say, go get them?
And that is really, at least by our interpretation and our Google research, that is the real core of the issue.
Which, before we get into that, we did a lot of Google research. I personally went to and read the bill online and read the section that it's amending, because the bill is actually an amendment, and I think it's like 2319 section or Title 18. But going through all of the references, everything refers back to Section 106, which is the exclusive rights of the copyright holder.
Yes.
And from what we read, we're decently educated guys. We understand the English language.
Yeah, maybe not the full-blown lawyer jargon going on, but we know what words mean.
Our interpretation of what this amendment would do and everything that it's going to affect in all of these other sections and titles is it's still going to come back to the exclusive rights of the copyright holder. So the sky is not falling, at least we don't think so. Let's Plays should be safe, but in the case that they're not, if this is the government's call, or if this is the copyright holder's call, what's this going to look like?
Yeah, that's the core of the issue. Well, going back to the exclusive rights of the copyright holder, it actually specifically states that they're adding the public performance bit to, and I quote, Articles 1, 3, 4, and 6, which means the public performance label, which is pretty much the entire thrust of the bill, isn't being applied to 2 and 5. Well, what are 2 and 5? 5 pretty much looks like screenshots of not just video games, movies, or anything.
Right.
And 2 is
the exclusive rights to do and to authorize derivative works of the copyrighted material.
And derivative works pretty much means reviews, commentaries, parodies,
which covers all of us and Let's Plays.
Or rather doesn't cover, which is good. Because this bill isn't
because it's not included, right?
Yeah. And again, we're not lawyers, but we do know the English language, and we did do a pretty decent amount of research, and it looks like they're not even adding criminal penalties to this derivative work clause, if you ever lack of a better word. And pretty much like what it comes down to two main issues. One, is this the government becoming active in the enforcement of copyright law? Are they, as Sloth here said, are they hiring 1,000 guys with computers and just prosecuting people as they find them? Or are they just giving a larger stick to the MPAA and the RIAA? Because, like, that's a big difference. Because one is, like, Big Brother-esque and really is not a good thing.
It's not good in any situation.
Yeah, I mean, that's a kind of a different argument, but that's bad news. Big Brother stuff is frightening. And it definitely falls under the give an inch, they get a mile sort of thing. But if it's just another weapon for the MPAA...
That's great.
And
because
the RIAA...
it's been illegal forever. All of the movies, the music, the TV, it's been illegal forever, and they've had the authority to prosecute, but it's only been in civil law rather than criminal. So if this is another tool for them to actually jail people that are repeatedly infringing on copyrights, then good.
Yeah, and the thing is if that's the case, then the end result is that they're giving the video game industry, among the other industries, a bigger stick that they probably won't use because they haven't used the stick they've already had.
Right.
For the most part. There's exceptions to every rule, but by far and wide, most Let's Players are left alone. And then the other issue is, even if it is a government thing, it looks like, since it's excluding the Articles 2 and 5 under exclusive rights to copyright holders, it looks like that Article 2 that's left out, derivative works, that Let's Play is a derivative work.
Yep.
You're taking a copyrighted material, but you're adding things to it. And like your commentary or your parody or your instruction or what have you.
Or your machinima, because there's so many games that give you tools
to
do that.
Which is even further evidence that the video game companies and sometimes
want you to make videos. They want us to make videos.
Right? Most of them anyways, I would imagine. So pretty much like the whole message we're trying to say is don't freak out.
But be concerned.
But we should still be concerned because we do need to make sure it may be okay as it's worded. Maybe. Again, we're not claiming we're lawyers. We just did a lot of Google research, some dictionary work, and some double checking, and a little bit of critical thought.
So here's what we think we all need to do. There's going to be a link in the description, just like all the other videos, to a petition that you can send off to all of the representatives that need to hear this, and there's going to be a default message in there. Don't send the default message. Instead, delete that and write your own message, and just, state that you are concerned how this is going to affect the video game industry, because video games do fall under the copyright, and find out if we're going to be okay. Ask, is our video game footage and channels and Let's Plays going to be safe? Hopefully the sky is not falling. Yeah.
I think the biggest concern is if it is the government taking an active role, then that sucks, all around. But if it's not, then we need to make sure the verbiage is right, so that things like Let's Plays and walkthroughs and all that fun stuff that, again, we think the video game industry appreciates by and large, stays safe and continues to be safe, so we can continue jerking off on the internet.
And thriving and not dying.
Yes, and not dying. Especially to that guy.
Yeah, stay away from them things.
He explodes.
They make you die.
Fire's bad.
Don't die.
Don't die.